Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we are going to cover UPSC Prelims PYQ series of CSAT Comprehension 2020 questions. In this particular video series, students, we are covering how to effectively arrive at the comprehension questions using various tips and tricks and save the time in the examination hall and also to ensure maximum accuracy. That's the main purpose of this video series, students. So before going into the comprehension video series, let's learn some of the important tips which we need to remember to crack the questions. Extreme statements in answer options like all, every, always, none, only, solely are usually incorrect. So we need to have a hold on the extreme statements whenever they are used. We need to double verify it, and maximum times it will be wrong only, and ignore technical or unfamiliar terms in options if they are not mentioned in the passage, especially except inference oriented questions. Other than that, if they use too much of technical terms which is unrelated to the passage, you can eliminate that option, students, and pay more attention to the keywords such as but, however, except, although, because after that whatever they are mentioning in the passage you need to note it down or underline it, because that is where the real meaning of the author, the central idea will be lying in the passage. The central idea or crux of the passage should reflect broader themes, students, and it should not be focused on any minor detail. So whenever they ask in the passage, they'll give maximum stress on broader themes. Assumption is one thing which will not be directly stated in the passage, but what is more important thing is 99% it will not be in negative tone. So maximum times it will be in positive tone only. Using that also you can eliminate the option, students. And whenever they use critical inference means you have to look at the option which are having a slightly negative tone. Most critical inference means even strongly worded negative statement or option, you should look at it. If the question itself is asking implied, inferred, conclusion, can be deduced means give maximum weightage to the first two lines and the last 2 to 3 lines of the passage. That is where the answer for that particular option will be lying, students. Even if they say what sums up the passage, the overall meaning is conclusion only. That will be lying at the last 3 lines in the passage only, maximum times. Okay, let's go into the today's comprehension questions. This particular video, we are solving the 2022 previous year questions of CSAT comprehension. So we'll go into the direct question first. Which one of the following is best implied in the passage? So let's go and read the first two lines and last 3 lines, students. In India, over the last decade or so, labor has been departing from agriculture, but only going to construction and unregistered manufacturing, which are not market better jobs. Okay, so labor is departing. That's what they are saying. Then the new sector, e-commerce, can at best close only half of the jobs gap. Only those sectors that drive the domestic demand, such as health and education, can comfortably fill the remaining half. So what is required is health and education. So let's look at the keywords and the options: health, education, labor. If they are mentioned in the option, that's where the correct answer will be lying. First option, strong measures needed to be taken to reduce the rural to urban migration of labor. Labor is the keyword mentioned, but they are not just focusing on the migration thing. They are also talking about the other education and health, which is not there. You can eliminate it, students. Go to the B option. The working condition in construction and unregistered manufacturing needs to be improved. Nowhere the keyword labor is mentioned. You can eliminate it. Not only that, they are also not talking about the crucial education and health. Service sector has been reducing the problem of unemployment. Totally wrong. Why I am saying totally wrong? Because here they are saying service sector is only closing half the gaps. It is half of the jobs only it is addressing. Remaining of it is not addressing. So it is one way, even though it is reducing half of the problem of employment, but the crucial keyword are not mentioned: education, health, labor. D option, increasing social sector. Social sector means education, health, we know from our GS knowledge. That is imperative for large scale job creation. So overall, this is addressing the keyword. So you can pick the option D to be the correct answer. I hope this is understandable to you, students. So using a simple common sense, we have arrived at the correct answer. Let's move to the next one. They are asking assumptions. So usually I will be saying assumption should not be negatively worded and it should not be too, it will be indirectly stated in the passage, but should not be too much out of context also. These are the basic thumb rule. Let's first go and read the first 2 lines. In India, the current focus on the right to privacy is based on some realities of the digital age. Okay, let's look at the last two, three lines. Role of the state, therefore, is not just to abstain from preventing rightful free expression, but also to ensure private companies are not blocking it. So, private companies should not block. That is one key word, and they should also talk about the right to privacy. Basically, so basically, these are the key things mentioned. Now, what is the assumption? First, let's look at the assumption. State should have some institution to ensure its appropriate role in digital society. This is true. Why I'm saying true? Because they are saying in the last few lines, the role of the state is mandatory. State should ensure that private entities do not violate citizens' right to privacy. Usually, I'll be telling assumption should not be negatively worded, but in the passage itself, they have actually converted it in a negative manner. If you look at it, the private parties are not able to block it. So it is directly mentioned in the passage itself. So here there is an exemption which will apply. Usually I told no students 99% assumptions will not be negatively worded. That 1% chances these kind of passages. That's why I brought this passage. That exemption, when it will come, only when in the passage itself they are conveying the negative tone, only in that case you can pick that to be correct. Third one, digital economy is not compatible with the idea of not violating the citizens' privacy. Basically, students, they are not too much talking about digital economy and all. That's a very broader term. And second, this particular keyword, if you look at it, not is used two times. That is also negatively worded. Not only that, this particular concept is also nowhere conveyed directly in the passage. So you can eliminate this option and you can only pick up two options. That is A and B to be correct. There is 1 and 2. So the correct answer will be option A. So you can double verify that also. That's what I am saying. In CSAT comprehension, assumptions you have to be very, very like you need to use the shortcuts in an effective manner. 99% of our tricks will work. 1% exception is these kind of passages. Let's move to the next one. Which one of the following is the inference they are asking? Inference means first two lines, last three lines. So one of the biggest irony around water is that it comes from that is rivers and other wetlands. Okay. So let's look at the last three lines. Affected engineering water systems are thus effort at augmenting water supply. So thus is a keyword I said, although, but, thus, like that. After that, what is my mention in the passage is very important. So effort should be to improve the water supply, not on strengthening the capacities of ecological water system. That is the inference. Let's look at the inference which is matching with this particular logic. Rivers and other wetlands should be protected under Ramsar Convention. Ramsar Convention is nowhere talked about it. Even if you infer from the passage, they are not directly talking about overall relating to the especially the Ramsar Convention. Let's move to the next one. Engineering water system should be modernized. They are only saying it. They should not look at just strengthening or modernizing the water system. What is important? Improving water supply. So this is easily eliminatable option. See, wetland needs to be reinforced as more than just open source of water. If you look at the option students in the first two lines, wetland as a keyword and river is mentioned. Then water supply is mentioned. If you look at it, all these are available in this C option. So you can look at you can pick this option, but let's go to the D option also. Water supply should not be free of cost so as to prevent its misuse or overuse. They are not talking about this one, totally out of context. So you can easily pick option C to be the correct answer. I hope it's understandable to you. We have only focused on the first two and last three lines in the passage to arrive at the inference oriented question. Let's move to the next one. Which one of the following statements best implies the suggestion given by the author? So again, we will go and focus on the first two and last few lines. Asset allocation is the most important investment decision we will ever make, and sadly, most of us do not give the decision importance it deserves. So they're basically talking about asset allocation is an important decision. And let's look at the last few lines. But we cannot live assuming that all the extreme events are waiting to happen and all at the same time. All the extreme forms of risks we know will not manifest at the same time. So they are talking about asset management, that is asset allocation, investment, and the associated risk. Those are the keywords. Let's look for that. So first option, distribute your wealth. Allocation is the meaning of allocation is distribution only. That is matching. Asset means wealth. So asset allocation word is matching here across different kinds of assets, so that your risk. So risk is also mentioned. Both asset and risk is keyword which are used in the first and last few lines is matching here. Let's look at the other option. Risk taking behavior should be necessary component of your personality if you want to generate wealth. This is totally out of context. While making investment, find a trustworthy asset management organization. They are not talking about asset management organization and all. Two were out of context. You should know that investing your money is a risky business. They told money is risky, but the author is suggesting we should distribute the wealth more than that. That is what the maximum part of the thing on the passage meaning is conveying, and that is only coming nearly to the suggestion. So you can go for option A. I hope it's understandable to you. We looked at both the keyword asset and risk, and that is only matching directly in the option A. So you can pick option A to be the correct answer, students. Next one, they are asking most logical and rational inference. So we'll go to the same logic. First few lines and last few lines. Bank credit to the industrial sector has started shrinking. Its decline has been a serious concern as credit growth is essential to revive investment. So bank credit is decreasing, especially the quality of credit. Now let's look at the last few lines. Today we cannot shut down banks because there is not proper system to shut down. Weak laws making banks continue to need more capital. So the banks are difficult to shut down. That is one thing, and banks' credit are shrinking. These are the main things conveyed by the author. So let's look at the option which is matching nearly to that. Indian banking system is not able to help the country in its economic growth. So we have to look for both the keyword bank as well as we need to look at the opportunities where it cannot be shut down or it needs more capital. If you look at it, this is not solving that problem. And economic reform totally out of context. India lacks the institutional mechanism to deal with the failure of the bank. This is nearly matching with the last few lines, students. If you look at it, they are saying here, today we cannot shut down banks because there is no proper system. And they are telling that only institutional mechanism is not there to deal with failure, matching nearly. Let's look at this one. Encouraging the foreign investment in the industrial sector is good alternative. They are not talking about this out of context. So you can directly pick option C to be the correct answer. I hope if the author in the question, if they're asking you inference oriented questions, you know how to pick the correct answer through our video series today. You need to give maximum attention to the first few lines and the last few lines. And assumption, maximum time it would not be negatively worded, and the assumption today we have listed it. I hope this clarifies most of your reading comprehension doubts. We'll again come up with more such comprehension oriented series, students. If you have any feedback for us, please post it in the comment section. Thank you, students.